Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We're building a skills-driven workforce, innovations in job architecture and talent management, featuring Philipp Schuch, the founder and CEO of Gradar, one of the world's leading job evaluation and compensation platforms, and our Ilija Kiroski, a partner manager at Semos Cloud. My name is Raviola. I work with content in Semos Cloud's marketing team, and I'll be guiding you through today's session. First, I'd like to introduce ourselves. We're an independent software company providing sophisticated enterprise HR tech. We build, design, develop, and implement employee experience cloud solutions. With job points, nurture, skills, and well-being, we serve employers to help manage their workforce and deliver exceptional employee experience on all fronts. For more than 10 years now, we've been delivering integrations on public cloud platforms with technical and business support from our partner teams at SAP, Microsoft, and Oracle. SAP accepted us into a cloud development accelerator in 2013, and in 2018, we won the SAP Pinnacle Award. In 2020, we became an SAP endorsed partner and joined SAP's Premier Partnership Program. We're also a founding member of the Partner Advisory Council for Innovation Group and work alongside other top SIs and ISVs on building competitive cloud and AI offerings. Here's a brief overview of Semos Cloud's products that support organizations in today's dynamic business landscape. Job points, nurture, well-being, and skills are comprehensive solutions that constitute Semos Cloud's employee experience suite. Together, these applications drive employee engagement, foster growth, and create thriving workplaces. Job points, Semos Cloud's flagship solution, revolutionizes employee recognition and rewards, helping companies acknowledge hard work of their employees, celebrate their achievements, and reinforce positive behaviors. Nurture, an employee communication solution, keeps the entire workforce aligned, engaged, connected by supporting companies with employee listening, feedback, and internal communications. With well-being, we assist companies in boosting employees' health, well-being, and sustainability impact. And finally, skills is an enterprise-level intelligent data collection and analytics software that identifies and documents information about your workforce's skill set to propel your organization forward. So, excuse me, I see my camera has gone for a brief second. I'm back. Hi. Okay, so before we kick off with today's agenda, here's what you need to know about today's webinar. You can use the Q&A function to post questions. After Philipp's presentation and our own Q&A session with Ilija, there'll be some time to answer questions from you. So feel free to use that Q&A function, ask anything you would like to know, and at the end of the session, we'll select a few questions from the audience that we'll answer. And for anyone who wasn't able to attend or has to leave early, worry not, we've got you covered. We're going to send this webinar recording to everyone who registered, and you can even watch it later on demand. So just to have a little recap or pre-cap to today's session, we'll talk about the transformative power of skills in redefining job roles and talent management strategies, then identifying the skills pool within the company and addressing skills gaps and talent gaps, also deconstructing traditional job roles to focus on unique skill sets, creating agile structures aligned with market demands. And here's a little bit of something about our speakers today. Philipp Schuch is the founder and CEO of Gradar, one of the world's leading job evaluation and compensation platforms. With close to 20 years of experience as a consultant and manager in international companies, he's an expert in all things job grading, rewards management, and market benchmarking. Phil has seen the first-hand problems organizations face with their compensation practices and is fully committed to doing things differently by providing a more cost-effective, user-friendly solution. And on the other side, we have Ilija Kiroski, our very own dedicated partner manager at Semos Cloud, excelling in competitive markets for over a decade, building client relationships and boosting sales. Ilija creates customized programs that effectively foster growth and drive success. He currently focuses on creating connections with HCM and HXM providers, merging his business development passion with improving employee engagement. And now I will stop sharing my screen because it's time to turn to Philipp. Hello, welcome, Philipp. We're really delighted to have you with us today.
Well, it's great to be here. Hello.
Hi. So this is the time in this webinar when you take over. You are free to present your.
Yeah. So I'm really happy to be here because this is a very different take on things to what we are kind of used to. Because I come from a world where we deliver job grading. So this is the input that we need, a classic kind of job description or an interview where we would be looking at, hey, what are the tasks? What are the challenges that employees on a certain job are facing? But the reality is most organizations do not have job descriptions.
Mhm.
And many organizations are pretty far away from a modern approach towards skill management too. And that's why we have brought everything together in our Gradar software. And I'm going to use a very short demo of the product to explain a couple of things and that are going to be needed for today's session. So I'm starting the screen share now.
Okay.
And it's true, I've been in the business for almost 20 years. I mean, I don't look like it, but it's kind of true. Okay, so this is the Gradar platform. The Gradar platform would deliver a job grading result. And when I click on a feature that is called cross comparison, you can see on the y-axis, you can see the grades. So here we're looking at grade 19 all the way down to grade 15. Then here on the x-axis, the jobs that were evaluated are sorted by, in this case, it's organization unit, or could be a job family or something else. And then we have the job profile. And let's pick one, and I'm going to take this one here. Mm-hmm. So this job was evaluated as a so-called individual contributor in grade 14, has this title, and is aligned with a job family. And this is kind of a concept that is becoming more and more important, especially when we go into skill management, called production and maintenance. So with the grading result, the grade tells us a little bit about, job matches, so how to, or what the market data could look like in a certain location. So then we would see something like a median value and average and so on. So this is possible. But the job profile also gives us competency matches. Mm-hmm. And for the sake of definition, I'm saying, hey, competencies are all about the behaviors that we are expecting from someone to show. Mm-hmm. So here we are linking this very classic approach to there's a job grading with talent management. It is the key resource to talent management, which is the competency profile. And you can see the behavioral examples here that could be used to observe competencies and provide feedback and thus increase, recognition and perceived justice in the organization, etc. But that's not all. There's also the option, and this is very new, it's AI powered, to produce a job description. So instead of going down the road of having multiple pages of job descriptions with dedicated tasks and a lot of complexity in the system, we would use this straightforward approach of evaluating a job, having a competency profile, to let an AI create information such as the general purpose of the job. And we keep in mind, this is a plant maintenance engineer. And I think the general purpose is spot on. Then there are a few core responsibilities. Mm-hmm. They all also look quite fine. Mm-hmm. And then, and this is the big piece that we can talk about today, we have a list of technical skills needed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is then, as you can see, the length of the skill section is exactly the same as the length of communication requirements, as well as core responsibilities. And this is then really something that can be used inside of the organization to see, well, who maps these skills? Or I could pull up another job. That's another one that I generated in advance. It's called our Chief Travel Blogger.
Chief Travel Blogger.
Yeah, that's an awesome job.
Yeah, that sounds a lot of fun.
So individual contribution, grade 15. And here, again, spot on. So the job is to create engaging and informative travel content through blog posts and social media and so on. So, yeah.
Okay.
You need to have a little bit of fun. And here we also have a skill profile.
Mm-hmm.
And the great thing is, as soon as you start mapping employees not only against a classic job profile, but also take into account the level of skill shown, you can really start using this advanced information in the organization to maybe offer them a different job that has a similar skill profile, but where the core duties are very different. And that's the additional complexity in a way that comes up once you start using skill and competency profiles. But this is also the great opportunity for organizations to have this information in place. It can't be done in Excel.
No.
And that's why we have a specialized software for this, like the skilled software from Semos Cloud, others as well, like Talent Guard from the United States, that would support organizations with mapping employees against skills and thus creating a very, very opportunity-rich environment.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents when it comes to jobs with classic description approach, competency and skill profiles.
Wow, excellent. This was very interesting. I'm sure a lot of HR experts would love to take a deep dive in your application. It looks engaging and exciting, but also a little bit I'm sure a lot of audience is a little bit bedazzled with all these new possibilities and uncharted territories of skill detection, job profiles, the introduction of job families. And I hope that in the continuation of this webinar, we'll find some answers to these hot burning topics. So would you say you're okay to start with our own Q&A?
Anytime.
You're ready. Ilija, how are you doing?
Perfect.
Okay.
Already started taking notes by something that Philipp already shared.
Okay, great. Very good. So let's start with how skills-based talent management impacts the workforce. The first question I'd like to ask you today is, how do you define skills-based talent management? What are its key advantages in the context of the future of work? Maybe Philipp, would you like to start? And then we'll turn to Ilija.
Yeah, so the question about the definition, right? The problem with this webinar is it's not scripted, so I'm making everything up on the fly.
That's perfect.
It's not a problem, it's a beauty.
Yeah.
So skill-based talent management. In the past, we looked at the experience that someone brought. So how long did someone do certain things? And this was then often taken as the qualification for the next level. But this made it very, very hard to say, hey, move over to another job. So there's the option to do something else, because the experience didn't really show that someone could do this other job. And then the take on skill-based talent management is, hey, you've been showing certain skills in your past job that are pretty much the same in this other job or are very closely related. Well, you're not going to need a long time to kind of retrain or learn the fine points of this other job. We'll give you the opportunity, and you will have someone on your side helping you with this, and then you will be able to do this. The great thing is, you don't really have to have a kind of a perfect pyramid in place where there are many people doing something and then moving up the ladder. So it's not very vertical, but it becomes very broad, because then people can come from other parts of the organization and do a job that they have not been doing for a long time. because they bring the skill set that is needed or very much compatible with this new job. And I think this is the paradigm change that we are seeing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Ilija, have you got anything to add here?
Yeah, great insight here, Philipp, and thank you for that. You have mentioned something very important at the beginning. It's like, I wrote it down, it's core duties are complex, and I would add up here that they are changing. That's why the skills-based talent management and skills-based approach is actually something that now the organization needs to do in a proactive way rather than the reactive way, because now the skills are actually strategically leveraging the employees' skills, what they bring to the table, what they bring with themselves, and matching with the company goals. Why is this great? Because it's allowing employees to adapt quickly. It's allowing the entire organization to adapt to the changes that we are obviously facing, especially after the COVID pandemic. And you have mentioned something that I think that may be we will speak about during this webinar, but also if all the HR experts are referring to some case studies or whatsoever, that will be see kind of a pattern here when we speak about skills-driven workforce. And there, I wrote it down. There are 3 keywords that are actually an image of skills-based approach and skills-based talent management. It's always agility, flexibility, and adaptability to the changes. So these 3 words are in every aspects when we speak about skills. So I would say that there is no strict definition about it, but these 3 keywords are somehow focusing or reshaping the organization we knew a couple of years ago, and the future of the organization that we are going to obviously face in the future.
But it requires a certain level of maturity of the organization.
Sure.
And this is what we see every day. An organization doesn't have a job profile or a job description in place, and most definitely not a skill profile or competency profile. So it's kind of an investment, but it has never been as affordable as it is today, because now all of a sudden there's technology available that helps us with this. And you could see it's AI generated content, and it's pretty spot on for the jobs that we looked at. And now imagine you can take this content into a specialized system that will start mapping maybe known predefined set of skills with the employees in the organization. Then it's not all about holding a job, but it's also about having the skills and being known for having these skills. So nobody can claim anymore it's not part of the job description, but because you've shown and applied those skills, so you qualify for something else. So the organization becomes more flexible, and there's a way to for the entire organization to be more agile, because you're not bound to very strict jobs and very narrow definitions.
Okay, thanks for this. Philipp, you've already hinted that things have changed when it comes to traditional job descriptions. It seems that beforehand things were quite more rigid than they are now, and companies need to simply adopt this flexibility to be able to switch for its workforce to switch between jobs a little bit more easier. There's this internal mobility that is highly needed. It also helps with turnovers, with retention, with job satisfaction. So it's definitely applicable on many levels. So this you've already hinted at, but I'm still gonna ask how and why traditional approaches to job architecture and talent management are no longer effective in today's work environment.
I think the biggest problem really in the past was that So starting with the job description, I mean, I've seen job descriptions that were 12 A4 pages long. And then it's really easy to say for an employee, I'm not doing that. Or I want more money because it's not part of my job description. It's definitely a saying in the United States that hey, it's not part of my JD. So that's one thing. And what I always found super annoying was this detachment from the field of compensation and benefits, who were looking at jobs, at benchmark jobs, and at setting pay bands and everything, and talent management. So yeah, they defined the titles and the grade or the level of the organization, maybe a job family, but not much else. And this is changing now because Ilija at Semos, he needs the job families and he needs a job profile with the skills attached to it, with the competencies attached to it, so that he can start managing the employees in an organization and he can start mapping this. So everything is becoming much, much more interconnected than it used to be. And this is thanks to technology and affordable technology at that.
Thank you. This was very vividly depicted. Ilija, have you got something to add here?
Yeah, you have mentioned in your question actually why the traditional talent management and job architecture is not in line and not longer effective actually with fast-paced working environment. Actually, the answer is within the question, because everything is changing so quickly now. We have new technologies applied, we have shifting markets, we have evolving customers' needs, which are changing on a daily basis. Therefore, we need to reshape the full organizational structure, I would say, not only from the organization points of view, but also from the personal point of view. Now it's more focused on like what we always tend to say, even with covering our solution, is that now is the human-centric approach. Now we are coming closer to the person as an individual, what individual person brings to the table, and this is something that is very, very important. Therefore, this approach of skills-based and changing environment encourages ongoing learning and growth from the individual perspective, which is really crucial in this rapidly changing landscape. As Philipp mentioned, if you want to catch up with all the changes, if you want to catch up with all the trends, you really need to get closer to the needs of the market, to the needs of the organization, in order to grow the organization together with your individual growth. So it's not anymore like not part of my job description, but I would say it's a more cross-functional landscape we are witnessing within the organization, with, of course, defined job roles, but which are not that how to put it this more simpler, not to be in a way of like something which is been there for 50 years and not a matter of change and so on, but it's really something that is frequently and needs to be changed on a I would say even maybe not daily basis, but on a monthly basis, and to be revisited. Therefore, this example that Philipp gave with their usage of artificial intelligence really made me laugh a little bit with the behavioral examples that were shown there, like really in a descriptive manner, explaining what everyone needs to bring to the table in order to fulfill a certain job role or job description.
Yeah, and I mean, really don't just take our word for it, but thing is, I was at the Unleash World Conference last year in Paris, and they had a huge area there of exhibitors just focused on skill management. So this is becoming a huge topic, and there's a lot of investment money going into it because organizations see this as crucial. And then the exciting thing is it is affordable for smaller organizations as well, provided they want to invest into HR. That's always the challenge, obviously.
It is, but it seems to me that the trend is nowadays that more and more companies realize in this war for talent age that it's heavily important to invest in HR. Okay, apart from, you've already mentioned, Philipp, about first having, instead of rigid job descriptions, first defining job profiles, job descriptions, and then we can only get to configuring some kind of a skills taxonomy of a workforce. What would you say are some effective tools and methodologies that organizations can start using today to accurately identify and assess the skills within their workforce?
Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you something. Okay, let me share.
Okay, great. We love seeing new things. Yes.
Okay, I just pulled this up. Just a second. So there are some free resources available. There's, and this is from the American Ministry of Labor. And it's all in English, but also available in Espanol. It's training for your next visit to Barcelona or Spain, maybe. So the exciting thing is you can search for occupations here. So let's take an electrician. Okay, so electrician is an occupation that everyone knows, I guess. And the exciting thing here is there's a very small description of what electricians typically do. There are tasks that typically would be part of a job description. But there's also something about technology skills. And when I scroll down a bit more, there are some kind of work activities, which could also be part of a job description. And the further I scroll down, we get information on more detailed work activities, on the work context, and on skills, and on knowledge needed for this job. So that's the other one. And another resource that I often use is the SFIA database. So it started as they still call it a global skills and competency framework for the digital world. So here you get a list of, it's about 100 skills. And when I click on one, let's take business administration. The great thing here is it's structured in levels. So here you have something very basic on level 1. Performs routine administration activities in a structured environment, and goes all the way up to level 6. And this is about leading, coordinating strategic initiatives, working across departmental or functional boundaries. So these are free resources that someone can use. And obviously there's TMA's competency library that we also have in our system, but these are behavior-based. So here you would see, let's take accountability, you would see the different behavioral examples, also scaled by 4 levels: general, operational, tactical, and strategical. So those are my 4 favorite resources.
Including Gradar?
Well, and there's Gradar, obviously, bringing everything together.
Yeah. Okay, great. Do you have anything to add here, Ilija?
Yeah, I have only one, I would say, because I'm a second speaker, so I would like to confirm and agree with everything Philipp says. So it's really like obviously the data is driving all the things currently. So obviously there are numerous of tools and methods on online or on premise that can help us in let's say bringing closer this skills-based approach. I would say one can see through, I would say, 2 lenses about evaluation of the skills within their workforce. First is, of course, as we have done for years for now, is the self-assessment or assessment top-down approach or some courses and so on. But the second approach would be a peer assessment, which is now evolving in even becoming more important nowadays, because it's part of an unbiased approach. It's part of an objective assessment of a person's skills no matter whether those are hard skills detected on a particular project or soft skills or human skills, as we are claiming them nowadays. So what others think about us is really important nowadays. But as I said, as a conclusion, in a nutshell, all of these things should be utilized by using a data-driven tool, which will help organization bring all together and summarize in order to bring actually data-driven decisions at the end of the day, no matter whether it's about workforce planning, no matter whether it's about talent management, whether it's about succession planning, and so on.
And this is new. I mean, we didn't have that type of technology a couple of years ago. It was very rigid. Yeah? So you only had the option to fill out a questionnaire. But now with the new algorithms, with AI, these software pieces become much more intelligent than they used to be. And it's much more affordable because you don't need 30 people maintaining paper-based feedback, but it's all in the platform, and it's becoming something like self-service. And this is super exciting. And I guess this is something where Semos Cloud is doing a pretty good job. I mean, together with others, to be fair, but as a European company, pretty good.
Thank you. In the meantime, our audience, thank you, Philipp, for sharing these platforms. They find them insightful. And we also got a couple of questions with that we'll address later. Very much looking forward to those. Ilija, how about I start with you this time with the next question. What are some practical steps organizations can take today to transfer from traditional job architecture to skill-based approach? Are there any challenges or consideration they should be aware of?
For sure. Let's say if one should go along this journey, is of course, first of all, transitioning from traditional job architecture to skills-based approach is really challenging for every organization. Mm-hmm. Even those who are not saying that, like, this is easy, like 1, 2, 3, we'll use this and that tool. It's not true, because it's really takes change management and takes time. What is important for every change management practice is, first we need to identify crucial skills and map them with the roles. Then offer alongside trainings for upskilling and reskilling. And what is here really important to mention is restructuring the roles around the skills. Like and asking the questions on determining how the work is organized, whether we are organized the work in tasks, which will be fractionalized, whether we are using the job description, job roles as a traditional approach, or we are even going on the completely opposite direction with the broadest approach, like what are the outcomes to be solved. And this is the outcomes driven approach to the same problem. Then the second thing is who does the work. It's we have, as Philipp shown, portfolio of skills and other attributes like hard skills, soft skills, human skills, behavioral examples, as Philipp shown, but also potential skills that needs to be gathered in order to be a perfect fit for a certain role or for a certain job, or, as I said, for a certain project that we will be working on, and so on. So it's very important to adapt all these strategies from the very beginning, from hire to retire. And when I say from hire to retire, using this skills-based approach within work and skills architecture, within performance evaluation, within career planning, within succession planning, and as I mentioned before, within talent acquisition, rewards, recognitions, and all the other stuff. And as a cherry on the top, I would say that integrating the technology for skills tracking is important. As Philipp mentioned, it is really important not to overwhelm like the full HR folks with gathering the information in an Excel sheet, in evaluation and whatsoever, but really structure them down in one tool that can bring, once again, unbiased information in order to be able for the C-level people to bring unbiased decisions. So challenges includes employees to build in, to move them from the traditional mindset and traditional way of thinking, and of course, as Philipp mentioned before, adjusting the compensation frameworks to the newly established environments. Of course, it's a gradual process, but the benefits, going back to my first words, in agility and flexibility and bringing the organization closer to the future of work and already now of work, it's really important here.
Thank you, Ilija. Would you like to chip in with your thoughts, Philipp?
I'm going to try to keep it brief. I think it's going to be a hybrid world. There's still going to be job profiles, probably even job descriptions, and there's not one system that's going to cover it all. Neither a Workday or SuccessFactors or any of those, nor will Semos Cloud be able to cover then pay decision making and all of these things, or promotions. So I think it's going to be a hybrid world, but the systems, they do connect nowadays. And those connections through interfaces, they work fine. They're never perfect, yeah. But if you have a system that holds some employee data, like Employee Central and SAP SuccessFactors, and you have this add-on of Semos Cloud Skills, and you have Gradar providing input into SAP, you're golden. And it's really you need specific software for every task, but you can't really isolate every task from the other tasks or processes in your organization. So it all needs to flow and work together.
You've said it nicely. The systems nowadays, they do connect, or at least we wish them so. They should connect. Otherwise, things will get messy, complicated, and require lots more manual work, which is extremely passé by now. I'd like to ask something in the realm of DEI. How can skills-based job architecture contribute to creating a more inclusive and diverse workforce? Are there any considerations or suggestions we should be aware of in this sphere of things? Ilija or Philipp would like to go first.
If
you already started. I saw your thinking process. It's already started.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you observe skills and if you record them and have a database on them, even hidden gems in the organization we will be able to identify them, even though they're not hiding behind some fancy title or a fancy career path, but because they're showing the skills, they are showing the competencies, they will be identified. And this is the great opportunity for an organization. It's not the one who shouts the loudest, but it's the ones who are seen through their peers and who receive recognition through others, and who maybe get great feedback from others that will be recognized in the entire organization then. And that's new. And that's, I think, that brings a lot of work motivation and, probably even psychological safety in a way, so that people will feel more connected to the organization and might even start performing better.
Great. Thank you for sharing. This connection between peer-to-peer recognition and the way we are seen and how our skills are observed by others definitely does play a part in becoming more inclusive. because it's not just, as you said, the go-getters. What would you, the loudest people in the room, what would you say, what would you add, Ilija, to this?
Actually, because we were called several times, like Semos Cloud, even I would want to avoid to make a direct marketing here. But something that is really connected deeply with AI is, first of all, the skill assessment tools in AI and data analysis analyzes embedded within are obviously game changer nowadays. So as Philipp already mentioned, I would like to give only a couple of sentences here that we have internally launched a Power Skills and Growth platform that detects what we are really saying here, like hard and soft skills directly from recognition messages from the colleagues that we are collaborating with on a certain projects and so on. And it gives a possibility to an employee on an individual level, back to my previous statement, to either confirm skill or reject, and by that keep track of all the skills they have in a way of skill profile. And those skills which are given from the others are here to stay, are written somewhere, someone gathered them, and we are already sure that we are how to say, having this badge of honor of a certain skill. And by that we are with the magic of gamification, which also nowadays it's a very, very hot topic. I would say that one can make a personal gamification of collecting certain badges, not only for the sake of collecting the badges, but only for sake of collecting the skills which are behind these badges in order to get prepared for this agile approach that obviously the organization will take and are already taking currently. So this is something that were on my mind while you were speaking. So speaking loud here, it's really bringing the importance of peer recognition and on peer feedback on almost the same level as the recognition and the feedback from the managers, from the team leader, and so on.
And now imagine you have this huge database of skills shown and applied by the employees in an organization, and there's a new job. And there's a new job opening. And the data comes from Gradar, and there's a skill profile and competency profile associated to it. Mapping will be super easy, because then the algorithm can actually look into the entire population and identify those who might be very well qualified because they have shown what it needs. And this is super exciting. Even though they come from another career path, they come from another job family. But this, especially in larger organizations, this is new. And I think we're just at the beginning of to see the benefits from this.
One of the new things I've started relatively new things I've started noticing is the differentiation between hard skills and soft skills. It seems as if though before hard skills were the only skills that were really highlighted as required for a job, but as of recent, soft skills become more and more important. Would you agree or not? And if not, why not?
No, because if you have a value-driven organization, it's not only about the what, but it's also about the how. So will people perform like decent citizens, or will they be, working against each other or with one another? And that's the big challenge. And if you have a competency framework of soft skills, this is something that can be observed, and this is something where peers and managers can provide feedback on.
And that's how we tie culture with skills and the need for those, for mapping those. Great. Last question. We are really, really approaching the end. I hope you have time for one more question, or should I quickly switch to questions from the audience? Because we do have some exciting ones.
I'm good.
Okay, one last question from my end, and then we'll turn to the audience questions. So with the rise of automation and AI, we know we're saving time on the FTE, on manual work, or we're freeing space and time for employees to be more creative and bring more passion to the work. How do you see the skills-based talent management go forward in the future? I know it's hard to foretell, but if you have any hints, please share. Whoever would like to start first.
Ilija, please.
Yeah, I would like to take this one because here's how I would like to picture the things. Here's the scoop. As machines takes on routine tasks, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so on. Now, and referring to the last question, like hard versus soft skills, it's our skills that become super valuable nowadays. Like we are talking about creativity, we are talking about critical thinking, we are talking about problem solving, the human touch, the human spice in all these things. So therefore, I'm not saying that the soft skills are more important than the hard skills, but I'm simply saying that by you can have a great engineer with great hard skills, but no soft skills, and can be overwhelmed, or how to say, in the race of talents, can be beaten by the one who has great soft skills, dedication, and can learn those skills that are missing from the hard skills portfolio. So job roles definitely want to disappear. They will evolve, and this is something that I would like to give as a conclusion, and referring back to what Philipp said at the beginning. They will evolve to focus on these uniquely human skills, on these behavioral examples, as Philipp have shown. So it's I would say workforce planning is getting a facelift. So it's to put it a little bit in a funny way, but it is like how the workforce planning will look like in the future.
Not much to add, really. And
Okay.
so, I mean, as a leader of a company, I'm glad that we have some great behaviors in the organization, and I wouldn't really tolerate anything else. But we also need the technical skills. So it's always about the balance, really. So you need both. I mean, that's the thing. It's complex. It's super complex. And if your HR is, managing payroll and that's it, then it's going to be a huge step for them to go into skill-based management, or even applying a job grading and so on. But things are changing, and those organizations that do not evolve will fall behind. That's super clear. Because people are expecting modern HR, they are expecting talent management, and talent management then is not just about organizing a course or a training, but it goes beyond that. And it is available. The technology is available, the tools, and even the sources that I showed and that I copied into the chat, they are freely available. So there's no reason, there's no excuse to not do something.
There's no reason and no excuse. I completely agree. And the workforce is basically screaming, I'm here, manage me, do something with my talents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and companies should. Switching on to questions from the audience. There is a very interesting question from Oliver. He's asking, I'm curious as to your views on how skills proficiency influences job sizing, if at all. Or do skills proficiency simply drive rate of pay within a given job level?
Mm-hmm. I think it's the later. So there's a direct connection between job size and the skills needed. But you would capsule the skills and the competencies and the tasks into a job, because that's a concept that works quite well. And that's a concept that is a requirement by the European Union's Pay Transparency Directive too.
Yeah.
So you need to talk about jobs and job grading and so on. And it's a good thing. Yeah, it's something to hold on to. But then when it comes to the performance of the individual, the performance on a job, it's about assessing the skills shown. It's assessing. It's looking at the knowledge that someone brings to the table. So if someone consistently shows proficiency on a job or with their skills, you can definitely pay them higher than someone who is new or fairly new to the entire industry, for example. And then the highest ones would be really who are experts on a certain topic and who are super specialized with their skill level and their competencies, and who would be adding a lot of value to the, not only to this job, but maybe to the entire organization. So you would use skills to differentiate level of pay. Maybe even the competencies shown. The bad citizens might get less than the good citizens. Why not?
And that's fair. Okay, thank you. Artem asks another question, very interesting one. What do you think about creating a library of organization competencies linked to its business strategy? Do you believe it is a bit outdated approach, or can we talk about combining those two approaches?
I think that's what you guys do, don't you, Ilija?
Yeah. Actually, it's I would say it's a, as we started at the beginning, as I close down, it's a kind of a hybrid model. It's a hybrid model that combines the traditional approach with this new approach, actually. And of course, there is we are integrated and already utilizing some of these 100 listed soft skills, more than 30,000 hard skills, and of course, based on these, let's say, skills assessments, we are connecting the individual level of fulfillment of certain skills with the library of skills that is needed for a certain position. So for sure, there needs to be some pattern, as Philipp just said, to follow, to have some let's say minimum requirements for a certain job roles. But of course, if someone else brings additional thing to the table for a certain job role or for a certain job description, it's giving an additional value in terms of rewards, in terms of compensation, in terms of everything which is coming along with it.
But skill is still not skill, but still you don't want to pay for skill alone.
Yeah.
Because your PhD taxi driver will not be paid for their PhD, but will be paid for driving the taxi.
True.
Excellent example. Excellent. And okay, I think we can slowly conclude today's session. We've talked about transitioning from traditional job architecture to skills-based approach. Both Ilija and Philipp have shared very interesting insights. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, audience, for being very engaged today, asking questions. Very exciting to be here today. If you'd like to say your final thoughts, now's the time. And if not, we'll conclude.
Well, you can always visit gradar.com and sign up for a free trial. So.
Smooth. Okay, you could always do that. Okay, thank you, Philipp. Thank you, Ilija. With that,
thanks.
We'll finish and see you on the next webinar session. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.